Good evening, Des and Garrett. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you for coming and sharing your incredible story. One of the things that I'm most curious about is finding out how a Vermont valedictorian met a climbing Californian restaurateur, and how did that come about?
Well, kind of a quick story. It was a quick meeting. I actually just got back from Baja at the end of the ski season, kind of go to there to get a break from skiing and such, and I came back and I was working for the North Face, and we had just opened a store above her restaurant, and I'll let you take it from there because
I don't know if it's quick at all.
we have a different version. Go ahead.
Well, my version is that I had just retired from climbing, and I had some choices that I had to make, and basically I ended up making the choice to go to Aspen and sort of work in the restaurant that I was a partner in as an investment. So I went to Aspen, and it was during the season where you have time that you do some remodeling and that sort of thing. Everybody takes their vacation. So I was there doing some painting and a little bit of remodeling outside, and there was this guy who was sort of leaning up against this pole that was connected to my restaurant and his store.
I was keeping an eye on potential clients passing down the
totally
wall.
checking me out.
This is a washboard abs moment, huh?
He was totally checking me out. I was slaving away painting this new bench that we had just put out in front of the restaurant for our customers to sit at. And he was just basically leaning up against the pole for like, I don't know, a couple of hours. And finally I sort of got sick of it and said, dude, are you going to like help me or just stand there all day? And he goes, oh, I'm working. And I said, oh, of course you are, holding up the pole. And so basically we got married 3 months later.
Yeah, she fed me.
Did.
She started feeding me, nice lunch.
Wait a man's
pie.
heart is to his stomach. Okay,
Right,
I can buy
exactly.
that.
And then we ended up right off the bat. She goes, oh, I'm going to California, visit my in-laws and in-laws. Well,
I'm going to pick up my niece. Why? Do you want to go? I had no idea who this... Well, actually, not true. When we first met, we sort of were figuring out who we were. And I had known, when I realized who Garrett was, I said, are you that guy that...
the big tumble.
The big tumble?
In the world.
And I had a huge crush on him 12 years prior.
Now what happened? You're in the extreme skiing. That's You're a ski surfer, so motocross, whatever. And so you're doing the extreme skiing in Alaska. What happened?
Well, yeah, it was during the '92 World Extreme Skiing Championships. This was kind of when what's now called free skiing back then was called extreme skiing. It had just started in '91, basically. '92 was the second World Championships, and I got invited up there for that. And two-thirds of the way through the competition, I was lining up for a steep section of the course, and I think I was in 4th or 5th place at the time, and I wanted to improve and get in the top 3. So I took a pretty technical line and caught my ski in a hole right at the top of a real technical exposed area, and ended up falling 800 plus feet. It was a long crash, and
It was great.
This is the one you see at 3 a.m. in the morning being replayed?
yeah, I could have been.
So you're the guy who survived.
Right, and everybody loves a good crash, so it's just
The indomitable spirit of Garrett.
Right. So
I actually was skiing in somewhere up in somewhere, and all of us came down to watch the extreme skiing competition, and I saw the crash on television as it was happening, and I was like, wow.
not as it was happening, right?
After it
Right,
happened,
yeah.
right, and I was like so impressed. So I had this huge crush on him for years and had never met him before until Aspen, and that's when I figured it out.
Fast forward. You've been married 10 years, happily so. And so here's the question. We have Bariloche, Argentina, Bocas del Toro, Panama, Rincon, Puerto Rico.
Yes.
So how does that triangle figure itself out? I mean,
Well, we met in Aspen, and right after we got married, we wanted to do something in the adventure business, guest house with adventure sports and everything else. Colorado was just
Actually, it was before we got married. We were talking about what we wanted to
The
do.
future.
Right,
The future.
right.
And I said that I wanted to have some sort of hotel that had some sort of adventure theme to it. And he said that he's always wanted to have that. And I said, I know this place in Puerto Rico. And he said, there's amazing surfing in Puerto Rico. And I said, there's a place for sale there. Let me call. And I think we flew down a week later to
Well-
Puerto Rico, right? Something like that.
Yes, we had actually made an offer, and we had just gotten married, and we're buying this business down in Puerto Rico. We're doing our honeymoon trip, which is an 8,000-mile road trip, starting in Colorado, going out to California, surfing Steamer Lane, going up to Hood River Gorge and windsurfing and rafting, and then mountain biking the Bitterroots all the way across the country, down the East Coast, skirted a couple of hurricanes down the Southeast. This whole time, it wasn't really a done deal. Put the offer in, whatever.
Right.
wait, the marriage?
No,
or
No.
The marriage or the property?
The
Clarify
property.
that one.
The
The
marriage.
property.
No, the marriage was already a done deal.
Yeah, but I was
So-
sort of wondering. what was
Adventures
happening.
everywhere. Okay,
Right,
so
right. So the whole time,
On a cell phone?
actually, well, on a cell phone, but we're going to these places. We're loaded up with all of our gear. We got a ton of stuff. The F-350 is just loaded to the hill with all the toys and equipment and everything to make our move. But it wasn't solid as of yet, and so she's over in the passenger seat, and she'll be napping over there, and then she'll wake up. And, did they call yet? Did they call?
And Puerto Rico is Spanish. I mean, you just went down there and learned cold.
No,
I mean,
but
that's amazing.
I had actually spent a bunch of time in Baja, like I said before, and
I
Central
spoke
America.
zero
and,
Spanish.
No, but so I had a background in some of it, and
Okay.
also the surfing, but also the surfing and everything. That was more my element.
And mine was business, so.
Yeah, so it actually worked out.
How was it in Rincon? Or is it
Beautiful.
Is it fine? Yeah.
Well,
Beautiful.
in the beginning, it was very, very interesting. I mean, we basically got on a plane. We put all of our stuff on a ship and sent it down. And again, Garrett mentioned that we were in the middle of all these hurricanes, and they were pretty much everywhere we went. There was a hurricane. Not sure why.
There's one coming near Lauderdale.
a disruption in the force.
There was always a
Yeah.
hurricane.
Okay.
So when we arrived to Puerto Rico,
Uh-huh.
we got there late at night. We ended up arriving to our new business, our new home, our new hotel.
No water.
No water. Nothing. Basically, it was a very, very
It was somewhat of a fire sale.
surprise.
We got a good deal. And then we paid somewhat of the price, getting it all up to par.
Well,
and
that's
everything
with
else. So
everything.
Right.
Tell me,
Yeah, but-
how did you evolve to Bariloche, Argentina?
Ever since we got a place in the tropics, because I always wanted a place in the mountains, place in the tropics.
And I don't do
Kind of
well with heat.
the best of both. I wanted that, and so you never have to move your stuff, from one place to another and this and that. So as soon as we got a place in the tropics, I mean, within the first year,
Yeah.
we were thinking of a place back in the mountains again. Colorado was I had been there for 13 years, so it was a long.
Been there, done that.
Well,
No,
been there,
it
done
was
that, but it was
too
just
expensive.
very expensive. I mean, Aspen,
The-
it's $1 million for a
The billionaires
two-bedroom
have
house.
pushed the millionaires out of the
Right,
valley.
right.
Right.
And,
And we were
Aspen
there.
actually is a beautiful place, and what I enjoy there is still exactly the same, but it's just too expensive to get started. So we got the place in Puerto Rico, and then we actually went up to BC. We were looking all around Fernie, Nelson, really beautiful places up there. The exchange on the dollar wasn't that good business-wise.
What made Bariloche, Argentina, which is in Patagonia, win
Well,
out?
leading to that, we went to the BC. Then we almost bought a gîte, like a climbing guest house in Argentière next to Chamonix
We were
and
this
France.
close.
In
Yeah,
France.
we were this
Uh-huh.
close.
in Europe. But everything there, the infrastructure, everything is basically it's amazing, but there's not a lot of room for improvement. It's not up and coming. It's been
Mature. It's mature.
Exactly.
Europe is mature.
It's
It
mature.
is, but
And-
also
and-
what happened was the Euro happened and also 9/11
Right.
happened.
Right happened.
It was
the Euro.
all about that, and they were boycotting French fries.
But you're not telling me about how you got to Bariloche.
Well, after we got back from France,
1 week.
right, and it didn't look like that was going to happen.
Okay.
I got on the internet right off the bat. I
No
knew
parlez-vous
some
français. Yes.
Argentines that came up for the 24 Hours Aspen racing, and
And I've been
we helped.
climbing here
and she had climbed
15
here.
years prior.
And I
Okay.
got in and I started getting on the internet, and I'm seeing, it was after the devaluation of the peso, after 2002, so this was 2004, early 2005, and the values were great. It's very international, so you've got Swiss culture, you've got Italian culture, you've got a bunch of
Very
international, and so you've got the log and wood and
Yes, but
and very
to cut this story short,
Yeah.
I said, Des, do you want to go? What about Bariloche? I said, no way. Bariloche is super expensive because I've been climbing in the Fitzroy area.
well, it wasn't.
And all that, and I said, no way. Bariloche is like the prime place for all of the rich people of Argentina go there. And he's like, no, Des.
So you came
The
here.
devaluation.
What made you fall in love with it?
Well, the lakes, the mountains, the
Beef?
beef and the wine.
Ah.
Yeah,
Come on.
The-
Superior.
Yeah.
Malbec is just the best.
Flamin' Young, $3 a pound. The Malbec, it was great.
And the skiing?
The chocolate, Swiss chocolate was here. The skiing, the
Me,
Lake
the
District.
mountains.
You've got the mountains. She's from Northern California, so this is like the Lake Tahoe of South America. It's almost
Yeah.
exactly the mirror, South America to North America. Lake Tahoe in North America is pretty much like it is here.
Okay, so you've
Because
you've now got a place in Puerto Rico, a place in Bariloche, you go back and forth to Colorado, to California, blah, blah. What gave you the global itch? Because you both just dropped everything and left and went around the world. What was the motivation for that?
That's pretty much how
change
we
pace,
do things,
change
though.
pace. It's
It's pretty much how we do things. And we got married 3 months after we met. We bought a hotel with a cell phone.
Simple pleasures of the humble poor.
We just
Yeah, right.
basically.
And so,
Sure.
how did you do
Come on.
this? How did you do this? Which direction did you go? East, west, north,
When
south?
we did the around the world trip,
Yes.
I don't remember.
no, I'm the logistical guy.
All right.
I do the planning and that. So
What we were doing, I was writing also as for a women's online magazine.
it's always a balance.
So-
All I want to do is go to surf and ski and the sport and this and that, and then we had to do the culture like in Budapest and these sort of things. So we went
Straight, not forward?
actually. Yes.
We,
Okay.
Forward, never straight.
Okay. I got to get my bearings.
No. We actually went from Puerto Rico.
No,
to
we
the
went
east.
from here to Puerto Rico because
No, no.
Here
Well, we
first.
were here, but the start of the trip was in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And
All right.
around the world trip, you get a great deal, and we ended up going to Tahoe first, which is a mirror here, and then went to New Zealand, and I got to surf in the North Island and South Island down to Mount Cook, and we did some
Do
climbing.
you forget what you forgot about the Maori tribe? We spent. Garrett wore the Maori tribe robe.
Yes,
So we
we-
went to a.
There are
got
no
inducted into the
initiation,
Maori-
no initiation
the
rituals
New
there.
Zealand